Hello and welcome to the preview of our Winter 2022 Alertus Server release. Today we're going to be looking at changes that make setup and testing easier, a couple of new integrations, and some improvements to existing activation methods that are in the latest server revision. We'll start with setup and testing. Under Configure System, we can find the Device Batch Updater. This page has been updated with a new UI to make system management easier. Is now considerably faster to add devices to a temporary testing group. So we can show, we could click a few devices here, enable that we're going to join these to a test group, and update the devices. We can also delete Alertus desktop clients that have not checked in recently, which is as simple as selecting a filter for this. We'll say last check-in date was last week. And apply. And we see here all of the devices. We will select all of the filtered ones. And we can delete those devices right now. And last not least, it is also significantly easier to assign relay behaviors to hardware like Alertus desktops, to hardware like alert beacons. You can see here, we're just going to assign panic button configuration 1. Done. We've also had a new report added in the form of the Voip activation report. We'll take a look at that next. The Voip activation report is a new report that shows a detailed view of the targeted Voip endpoints and their return statuses upon receiving an alert. We'll go ahead and select alert 13 here. We'll be able to see the statuses reported. So this was using Cisco Voip, and we can see the buzz status, stop text statuses for each of the directory numbers that were targeted, the device names, and the differences in timing to see how long it took to get those individual devices. We've also received 2 new additions to the custom event triggers pages, which is back here under Configure System. Let's go ahead and navigate there now. The first is a test mode that allows for events to be evaluated without following through on any actions. You can see that it's disabled by default. When you enable it, it sets the status to a test mode, which you'll see is clearly messaged with red text. While this mode is activated, no alerts or actions will be performed when these custom event triggers criteria are met. We can re-disable it by clicking on the slider and hitting disable. The second is a new type of response that can be used to temporarily disable custom event triggers. We're going to look at 2 custom events here. The first custom event trigger evaluates a system state with a button press and will disable all custom event triggers except for the re-enabling event. The second one uses the same MAC address from the same panic button activation on a different system state and re-enables all events. The combination of these 2 custom event triggers allows a single panic button to enable and disable all custom event triggers for the ease of testing and configuration. In this particular case, a panic button activation is actually from a new type of panic button we call a Wi-Fi panic button. We can see the page pertaining to it is down here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and check it out. Newly supported in this release, the Wi-Fi panic button is a portable panic button that uses existing network infrastructure to determine the user's location upon activation. You can see here the total number of devices how many are active or inactive, and any that have low battery. If we scroll down to the bottom, we can also see some of the events that have been sent via these panic buttons. We zoom in on one of these events, we can see the exact location that it arrived from via geo-coordinates. The new Ipauls integration is now available for use by federal and federal adjacent employees with the proper FEMA certifications. This integration allows users to send alerts through the national emergency notification channels. You can see that this server is set up with a test environment so that we can take a look at these different activation methods. We click on the Ipauls activation. We'll be greeted with a screen that shows us some of the different priorities. The WEAA, for example, makes use of wireless service. That way you can send these directly to cell phones. These use your standard emergency codes, categories, response times, or response types, excuse me, that you would expect to see on any other Ipauls activation. In addition to these new integrations, we also have some improvements to existing activation types. Let's start by taking a look at our text-to-speech. Here, our text-to-speech devices now support relays in the same way as our alert beacons. Let's go ahead and take a look at our device here. Under advanced settings, we can now have an RS-232 device, which is an output type for LED marquees, inputs for panic buttons, and output relay profiles that are customizable for different behaviors, for instance, strobe lights. We also have an additional feature for users that use the map interface for custom activations. This is in the form of doing saved shapes. We scroll down here, and we'll see that our map interface for filter recipients shows up our map just as we expect. But in addition to drawing shapes dynamically, we can now cancel and use our saved shapes. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and target Tyson's Corner here. And last but not least, we have the addition of a few new desktop profiles. Desktop profiles are ways that you can target Alertus desktop clients with new visual styles. In this release, we see the introduction of announcement, billboard, reminder, and resolute compact. And that brings us to the end of our Alertus Winter 2022 server preview. For more information on the features available in this release, please visit our customer portal at help.alertus.com, or to schedule an appointment to update your server, please reach out to support@alertus.com.